पास 3 साल की, मैंने 3 साल की लड़की।
जी
हाँ, तो वो पूना से आई।
जी
उसका पति नहीं मानता था, लेकिन वो सत्संगी थे।
जी
तो वो कुछ दिन के लिए सेवा में आई थी।
जी
उस समय क्या था, नया नया था।
जी
बाबा जी का जो बंगला बनाया था, उसके लिए बंगले के बगल में खड्डा खोदा था, सीमेंट से बना था। तो उसमें वो बंगले के लिए पानी की जरूरत पड़ता है ना, तो उसमें स्टार्ट करते थे।
जी
तो वो 10 फीट गहरा था
जी
खड्डा। और बंगला बन के 1 साल हो गया। ये आई थी 1 साल बाद।
जी
तो वो लड़की माने 3 साल की थी। तो वो जब सेवा में जाती थी सवेरे 7 बजे,
जी
तो एक बुढ़ी थी।
जी
औरत लोग अलग रहते थे,
जी
तो वो एक बुढ़ी रहती थी, उसके पास छोड़ के जाते थे
जी जी
कि तुम थोड़ा देख रेख करो, मैं सेवा से आने के बाद में उसको ये करो।
जी
तो वो रोज देखते थे। एक दिन क्या हो गया, वो बुढ़ी नींद में चली गई, सो गई।
जी
और वो लड़की खेलते खेलते बाहर गई। और वो खड्डा था ना, बहुत गहरा था, जमीन लेवल में था। और पानी गंदा हो गया, उसमें कचड़ा उचड़ा गिरा था। तो वो ऐसा झुक के ऐसा ऐसा करने लगी, और कोई देखा नहीं, वो उसमें गिर गई लड़की। और गिर के पानी पी के नीचे बैठ गई। तो ये लोग जब 3-4 बजे वो आई पानी पीने के लिए घर पे, तो देखती है तो बुढ़ी के पास लड़की नहीं। तो उसकी माँ बहुत घबरा गई। वो बाद में बुढ़ी से बोलती है कि लड़की कहाँ गई। तो बोलती है मैं थोड़ा नींद लग गया, शायद बाहर खेलती होगी। तो बाहर सब ढूंढा, पीछे गाय भैंस का तबेला था, वहाँ गए, सारा सब ढूंढ के आया, कहीं पता नहीं। तब वो रोने लगी। 1 घंटा ढूंढने के बाद रोने लगी कि मैं आई सेवा के लिए, और मैं ये लड़की अगर इस तरह से हो गया तो मेरा पति घर में आने नहीं देगा, और ऐसा वैसा बहुत दुख हो के रोने लगे। तो ये बात रोते सब लोग जमा हो गए। तो बाद में एक दाढ़ी वाला था, वो बुढ़ा, तो बोला कि कहीं नहीं है, तो शायद ये खड्डे में तो नहीं गिरी है, उसको डाउट आ गया। तो उसने बड़ा लकड़ी लेके आया, और 15 फीट का लकड़ी वो, और ऐसे ऐसा करने लगा पानी में। तो वो पानी पी के नीचे बैठी थी ना, वो मुर्दा ऊपर आया। ऊपर आने से सब लोग ने देखा, ऊपर आया तो उसको निकाला, और लड़की पानी पी के एकदम मोटी, माने पेट सूज गया था, मर गई थी। करीब 6-7 घंटा पानी में। तो रोने लगी औरत कि अब मैं क्या मुँह लेके जाऊंगी, क्या मुँह दिखाऊंगी, मैं तो सेवा में आई थी और एक ही लड़की थी। तो रोने लगे। तो रोने का आवाज़ सुन के बाबा जी ऊपर थे, तो बोले क्या हो गया बाहर आके। तो बोले महाराज ऐसे ऐसे बात हो गई। तो बोले अच्छा सब लोग यहाँ से चले जाओ, कोई नहीं उठाना। और वो लड़की को बाबा जी के रूम के नीचे एक कमरा बनाए थे, ऐसा ही वो खाली रहता था सीढ़ी के बगल में। तो वो कमरे में उसको लिटा दो, और यहाँ कोई नहीं रहना, सब लोग चले जाओ। तो सब लोग हट गए वहाँ से, और बाबा जी ऊपर से उतर के नीचे आए, और जाके उस कमरे में और वो मुर्दे के पास खड़ा होके कुछ किया, देखा। तो बाद में बाबा जी करीब 10-15 मिनट के बाद बाहर आए। वो लड़की उठ के बैठ गई, और पानी सब उसका बाहर निकाला गया पेट से, और वो रोने लगी लड़की। तो बाद में बाबा जी का आंखें सब लाल लाल था, बड़े में थे, और फिर ऐसे ऊपर चले गए, अपने कमरे में चले गए। तो ये कांड उस समय हुआ। तो वही वो बोलती है कहानी।
बाबा जी कितना समय लगता था रूम में सोमनाथ जी लाल का?
सुनो, ज्यादा तो नहीं, खाली 15 मिनट।
हाँ
Yeah, so once it happened in Baba Somnath Ji's ashram that a lady from Mumbai, she came with a 3-year-old daughter, and they were just doing their seva. Her husband was not agreeing to this sankma, so she usually hide that fact from him, and she used to do seva and leave her daughter with a caretaker. She was an old lady. So once it happened that she went on a seva, and the small kid, she was just playing around, and the caretaker just dozed off. So in the meantime, she was just fell down, because what happened was there was a just nearby the bungalow, like Babaji's home and the satsang hall and everything. There was a kind of a ditch. It was dug for a water, but the construction was done about a year ago. So it was just like some dirty water or soil water was there. So while playing and nobody was around, so she fell down in that ditch. And time passed, usually about for 6 or 7 hours, and she actually gulped some water, and she just went down to the ground level. Then when her mother came, and she found that okay, her daughter is not around anywhere. So she was just asking around and asked to the caretaker, and she said I'm sorry, I just fell asleep, and that's why this happened. So everybody was looking around, and after an hour or so, one old man who was a sevadar over there, he said, let's see if she might have fell down in that ditch. So he got a stick about 15 feet long and was trying to stir the water. So when he stirred the water, the dead body came up, and she was already dead. 6 or 7 hours were passed, and in the meantime, mother started crying, and she said if my husband would know, I would be kicked out of my home. So in that cry and those loud cry and all, so Baba Somnath just came on the gallery, and he said what happened. So they just said this the incident, it happened, she fell down in the ditch and now she's dead. And the mother was crying a lot. So Baba Somnath said okay, now what you can do is he was up there, and there was a room like this. He said left the body in the room and everybody just leave. So everybody left and there was no one around. Then Baba Somnath came down to the hall, and he was in the hall for about 15 minutes. So after 15 minutes, what happened was just the kid, the daughter, she just stood up and she started crying. So at that time, Baba Somnath's eyes were very reddish, it was very red, he was a little bit angry or so. But then he just went upstairs on his room, and that was the incident she was asking about. So this type of miracle happened during that time. So that was all his grace that the dead body, a dead girl, she was alive. Raj. Yes.
और इधर पहाड़ पे वो हाल बना रहे थे ना, बड़ा प्रसंग था, आप लोग देखा, वो करीब 6-7 महीने का दीवार उठा था, करीब 8 फीट दीवार उठे थे चारों तरफ। तो बरसात का टाइम आ गया, बाबा जी कभी आए थे, वहाँ से भेजते थे एक रेवी दर्शन के यहाँ, और यहाँ काम चल रहा था। तो 5-6 लोग देख रेख करते थे। इंजीनियर दावनगिरी का खतरनाक का, हाँ, उसने ये प्लान बनाया। तो बाद में वो क्या हो गया, ऊपर एक बड़ा पत्थर था, माने कितना बड़ा होएगा, इतना चौड़ा और ऊंचा, वो क्या हो गया, मट्टी सब बह गई उसके नीचे और वो लुढ़क गया। अभी यहाँ काम चालू है, और वो अगर नीचे आ गया तो ये सारा दीवार तोड़ के नीचे जाएगा, जितना बड़ा पत्थर ऊपर ऊपर से आ रहा
जी
है।
जी
तो बाबा जी वहाँ हैं क्योंकि हाँ दोपहर का समय था और बरसात से वो पहाड़ लुढ़क गया और जोर से गड़गड़ आवाज आने लगी, एक दूसरे से टकरा के आ रहा था वो।
जी
सभी लोग भागे छोड़ के।
जी
तो एवं बाबा जी ने जैसे ही वो सत्संग घर के दीवार के पास आया,
जी
बाबा जी ने ऐसा उधर किया गंगेरी में, और वो उधर ही रुक गए।
जी
तो ये लोगों ने क्या किया, जल्दी जल्दी उसके नीचे पत्थर डाल के हाँ उसको एक तरफ का दीवार ही बना दिया उसको चौक दिया उसको। आज भी वो दीवार है,
जी
अंदर जाएंगे सीढ़ी पे चढ़ते समय देखेंगे तो पूरा एक तरफ वो पहाड़ है,
या
बड़ा पत्थर।
जी जी
हाँ, वो ये हाल बनाने के समय ऐसे वाक्य हो
जी
तो वो उधर ही रुक गए।
So once it happened like while the Pahad ashram was under construction and the walls were raised about 8 feet and still the ceiling was not there. And once it happened like it started raining cats and dogs. And Baba Somnathji was in Kangari ashram. And it was under the observation of an engineer from Davangere in Karnataka. So like everybody was so scared because there was a big chunk, like big rock. It was like falling off the small hill, mountain, and it was coming all the way to the newly constructed walls. So at that time everybody was just running around and Babaji Kengeri, he just raised his hand and the rock just stopped down there just by the wall, and the Sevadars over there, they just put some supporting rocks just to hold it.
Yeah.
So then they just constructed the wall including that rock. So that's why when we go up there, we can see that in the
Yeah.
wall, there is also a part of that rock we can see from inside. So that was the reason. So that was also stopped with Somnathji's grace.
But it's about 350 kilometers. Somanath was in Kangeri and this is here. So,
Yeah, so at that time he was about 350 kilometers away, and still he raised his hand and his miracle happened.
It's a long hand.
हाल पूरा होने में पहाड़ पे, लेकिन बाबा जी कभी आए नहीं। हाँ, तो उन्होंने उस अपने रहते हुए हम लोग को भेजा था, ट्रैक्टर लेके हम लोग आए थे 4 दिन पहले।
जी जी
बाबा जी शरीर छोड़ने के
जी
बाद
जी
हम लोग आके देखे। हाँ, बाबा जी नहीं आए। हाँ, ये 3 प्रेमी थे, उन लोग के हाथ से सामान पैसा बेचते थे और वो लोग यहाँ पे काम करवाते थे।
So Baba Somnathji never visited Pahad ashram. It took about 3 years to finish up that ashram, and he used to send money through some sevadars, like 3 sevadars. So he was just sending all the money. So but once they sent Babaji to just look after the Pahad ashram construction for about before 4 days, he left his physical body. So that was the incident, and it was connected to yesterday's story.
yeah.
So yeah.
और एक सवाल, ये पहाड़ पे ही आश्रम बनाने का ऐसा विचार बाबा जी ने क्यों किया था? क्योंकि पहाड़ पे ही आश्रम बनाए ना, तो बाबा जी तो वहाँ आए नहीं, तो उसके पीछे क्या आप महादेव अप्पा का कुछ याद उसके लिए बनाया या किस?
महादेव अप्पा वहाँ पे 8-10 साल ध्यान किया है, रहे वहाँ पे, और वो बाबा जी के मुख्य शिष्य थे। और जब वो शरीर छोड़ा ना, तो उसके कारण से बाबा जी पहाड़ पे आए, नहीं तो यहाँ आने का कोई कारण ही नहीं। और यहाँ आकर टेंट डाल के सत्संग किया पहले ऊपर ही, खाली उनकी समाधि थी महादेव स्वामी का, और वहाँ एक नारियल का पेड़ लगा दिया था गाँव वाले, उसके अलावा कुछ नहीं। तो थोड़ा ऐसा जगह था, उसमें टेंट डाल के सेवा सत्संग करते थे। तो महादेव स्वामी के कारण यहाँ पे आए। हाँ, क्योंकि उनके शिष्य लोग यहाँ पे थे, तो वहाँ से आके फिर यहाँ उन्होंने ये किया संत मनता। और वो हाल जो है ना, उनका समाधि महादेव स्वामी का था। और लोग क्या करते थे, सोमनाथ महाराज के दर्शन को आते तो पहले समाधि को नमस्कार करते और फिर जाके बाबा जी को नमस्कार करते, क्योंकि वो उनको ज़्यादा मानते हैं महादेव स्वामी को बाबा। तो बाबा जी ने देखा ये अभी हम इतना भी सत्संग करेंगे लेकिन ये समाज की पूजा और नमस्कार करना छोड़ेंगे नहीं। तो बाबा जी बोले कुछ न कुछ करना चाहिए। तो एक दिन उन्होंने मीटिंग में बोला ये समाज छोड़ना पड़ेगा क्योंकि हमें यहाँ पे एक बड़ा हॉल बनाने का है और हॉल बनाना है तो नीचे समाज रहना अच्छा नहीं। इसको हम निकाल के ले जाके ऊपर बना देंगे समाज, उनका हड्डी उड्डी जो कुछ बचा है ऊपर डालेंगे और यहाँ एक बड़ा हॉल बनाएंगे। तो कुछ लोगों ने विरोध किया, कुछ लोगों ने, ज़्यादातर लोगों ने हाँ बोला। तो बाद में फिर वो समाज तोड़ा। हाँ, तो उसमें क्या था, कुछ हड्डियाँ बची थी, कुछ बाल थे, तो उसको ले जाके ऊपर एक जगह खड्डा खोद के उन्होंने सीमेंट से बना के अंदर डाल के ढक दिया। हाँ, लेकिन लोग वो सब उठा ले गए उसको भी। कोई बाल लेके गया तो उसका कुछ भूत प्रेत कहीं भी रहे तो ले जाके रखते थे तो भूत प्रेत चले जाते थे। तो ऐसे वो बाल सब पहले गया, फिर कुछ नहीं बचा तो हड्डी लेके जाने लग गए। तो पहले छोटी छोटी हड्डियां गई, फिर बड़ी बड़ी भी जाने लगी, फिर बचा खाली 2 पैर का हड्डी, बाकी सब उठा ले गए। हम लोग जाने तक खाली 2 पैर के हड्डी बचे थे और 2 हाथ के थे, वो हाथ का भी उठा ले गए बाद में। तो ऐसे हालत हो गई क्योंकि वो जहाँ रखते थे ना घर में, तो वहाँ पे कोई ऐसी वैसी शक्तियाँ नहीं आती थी। उनका यह समाधान तो वो महादेव की याद में और समाज के ऊपर वो हाल बनाया उन्होंने कि उन्होंने बहुत काफी दिन ध्यान किया है, एक स्मारक रहने।
The question he asked was like, Babaji, why he decided to establish a ashram just on top of the hill. So the reason was, like what Babaji says, it was because of the Mahadevappa, Mahadev Swami, because he meditated there for about 7 to 8 years. So that was the reason actually he came all the way there and like for a satsang. He imparted a satsang over there. So what happened was, like usually like Mahadevappa's grave, it was just on the existing satsang hall where it is right now. So whoever usually visit that place usually first go to the grave, bow down their head and then go and see Baba Somnath Ji. So he thought like we have to do something about it. So they gave an idea that okay, let's kind of like move the grave up to the other place up on the mountain because we want to build a satsang hall here. So some of them were opposing, some of them were like okay with that, but somehow it was decided and the grave was moved to the mountain up there, and there was a satsang hall was like established. But what happened, like the nearby villagers and everyone, they believed that like if we keep, because it was Babaji's remaining skeleton as well as like hair was still in the grave. So if they take any part of his body, Mahadevappa's body, it would weigh off all the negative powers or from the home.
Oh.
So it was their belief. So first they took hair, then they started collecting like small bones or whatever they own. Nothing was left, and then only the like two, the leg bones, the big one, it was just there. So slowly and gradually they took away everything, keeping in their home, believing that it would throw off all the negative energies from the home. So that was the reason. So that's why they, Babaji came all the way there, only because Mahadevappa did meditation, and it's because of his devotion that he decided to build up a ashram on top of that mountain.
तो बाबा जी की उम्र हो गई थी, उसको कोई जरूरत भी नहीं थी, लेकिन बोले वो जगह ऐसा ही चला जाएगा, तो वहाँ पे एक स्मारक रहेगा तो हमेशा के लिए याद रहेगा। तो उन्होंने इतना खर्चा करके वहाँ पे अच्छा हाल।
He was quite old. Baba Somnath Ji was not necessarily required for him to build a new satsang hall. But he thought like Mahadeva also like did meditation there, so it would be just as a in his sweet remembrance. If we just built up some satsang or something over there, like satsang hall or ashram, it would be forever there and people would remember him. Otherwise, he was not required. The ashram was not required. So even he was like quite old at that time. But still, he sent money. He just spent a lot of money to build that ashram.
Right. Thank you.
Part, what one of the sevadar here, he asked like where would be the program for tomorrow this day, because we are expecting about 120 people today or maybe tomorrow. So it would not like accommodate everyone here. So he said like for today evening we will see like if the sangat is like we can accommodate here, then it would be here between 7 and 8. The satsang, evening satsang. And from tomorrow there would not be any 10 o'clock darshan. And if required, if Babaji thinks, then we can have it in the hall, like under the roof, if it is clean. But it is not yet. And from tomorrow, like they are also planning to get this, satsang done, like arranged in the old satsang hall.
Yeah.
Because it's now clean, it's now washed, everything.
Yes.
So because we have like not that much space to accommodate everyone. So on the one side there would be like ladies, and the other side would be gents, sevadars and everyone, sangat. So then he just shared an experience like once it happened in Kengeri Ashram.
Funny
like,
story.
Someone donated blankets, because here also Babaji has like lots of blankets in backup. So it's kind of a little bit cold weather.
Yes.
So he said like whoever comes, whoever needed, just give them blankets. But usually they steal away blankets. Because
Yes.
it's small, they just put in their bag and just
Yes.
go away. So this time what you can do is just take about 200 rupees of deposit, so that they can return it. So that's why everybody was laughing, like, because sometimes they just take it. And once it happened in Kengeri Ashram as well, like they donated 3 bunches of like blankets, and it was under the like guard of one of the sevadar, Prem Nath. So he was a little bit greedy, by just like in a funny way, like not to give anyone, just so he just stocked it for about 3 years. And after 3 years, just he thought, okay, let's give it to like some of the satsangis. So once he just went there and he just hold the blanket, and it just came in pieces because because the material, it was just like that for last 3 years. So it converted into like fiber, or like kind of a powder form also. So it was of no use. So that's why everybody was laughing. So we don't want this happen to our blankets. So that's why we will distribute, but just to like on a security basis, like they just want a deposit, just 200, though the blanket is actually way more than 200, but just the token amount for deposit, so that they would at least return it. So that's why everybody was laughing around.
Yes. Thank you.
I recorded with the phone.
She's also recording.
Yeah, okay, just for everybody. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start. Radha Swami.
Radha Swami.
So the question was like in Sangmat, it is often said that once a soul receives true initiation, that is Namdhan, it is no longer required to return to the physical world. However, you asked, right, Baba?
Yeah.
You received initiation from Baba Savan Singh Ji in a previous lifetime, yet you have taken birth again and are present among us now. How should we understand this in light of the teachings? Right? This was the question.
Yes. Or maybe it was a special request of Satpurusha.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in return, like Babaji, like, so I just there are three segments of this story.
Yeah.
So the story falls into 3 main segments. Segment 1 is like Mahadev Swami first encounter Baba Somnath Ji. Second segment is Baba Somnath Ji first meeting with Baba Savan Singh Ji and spiritual guidance. Third segment would be Mahadev Swami's interaction with Baba Savan Singh Ji and return to Baba Somnath Ji. So it's usually like spread over like 3 segments. So let's start with the first segment, like where Mahadev Swami's first encounter with Baba Somnath Ji. So in that, like as Babaji started, I have shared this incident a few times before. In my previous birth, when I lived in the body of Mahadev Swami, we call Mahadev Appa, I received Namdan initiation from Baba Sawan Singh Ji. Baba Somnath Ji. The initiation of 5 names were related to the practice of pranayama. Yeah, it was
5 names.
Pranayama. Pranayama is the
I know,
breathing
but it was
practice.
5 names as well.
5 names of pranayama. So
Okay,
usually
okay.
Yogis usually would give those 5 names.
Okay.
So that
Different,
it was
of course.
it was different names. So it was not from the true like the perfect master, but it's from the yogis, from the yogi gurus. So at that time, Baba Somnath Ji was returning from Bombay, and he was traveling to north. So by coincidence, both of us, like Mahadev Swami and Baba Somnath Ji, belong to neighboring districts in Karnataka. He to Gulbarga. Gulbarga is these days it is called Kalburgi these days. Earlier it was called Gulbarga. And Mahadev Swami was from Raichur in Karnataka. So both were from the same district. So when Baba Somnath Ji arrived in Gulbarga, Mahadev Swami was serving as an assistant sub-inspector of police. And he had a noticeable white patch on back of his left hand, a kind of ailment he has been carrying. So upon having darshan of Baba Sawan Singh Ji, he humbly prayed for relief. Saints and Mahatmas, being repositories of higher awareness, we call it them omniscient, all aware, right? So generally know the inner condition of a seeker without being spoken. So Baba Somnath Ji too understood the nature of Mahadev Swami's ailment and the remedy it required. With his compassionate insight, he offered a herbal preparation, a kind of medical ointment, instruct him to apply it to the afflicted area. So gradually the patch began to heal, and within a month it had completely disappeared. So this experience deepened Mahadev Swami's trust in Baba Somnath Ji, and he then received initiation from him. The initiation included the 5 names, but was imparted in the pranayama tradition, not our Samkhya tradition. Absorbed in practice, Mahadev Swami developed profound vairagya, that is called a natural detachment from worldly life. So he renounced his job and donned the ochre robes, like usually the yogis wear that yellow or orange robes.
Yes.
And dedicated himself fully to yogic discipline. In this way, he began to live a life of a yogi. So this was the first segment. Now in second segment, which Babaji started, it was the Baba Somnath Ji's first meeting with Baba Sawan Singh Ji and spiritual guidance he received from him. So after some time, Baba Somnath Ji traveled northward in the northern Indian part, while Mahadev Swami journeyed towards south. Yet Babaji understood inwardly, I'm talking about Baba Somnath Ji, inwardly that he was still unsettled in his heart, that the master he had received was not the one his soul was truly seeking. Realizing this, Baba Somnath Ji began searching earnestly for a perfect master. Driven by this deep inner longing, he traveled to northern India, wandering from nearly 3 years on foot from Banaras to Himalayas and across many sacred regions. Wherever he went, he met yogis, saints and ascetics who possess various riddhis and siddhis, like mystic powers. Yet Baba Somnath Ji himself had already attained such abilities. So these encounters could not quench the spiritual thirst within him. nor did they offer the inner fulfillment he was seeking. So during these wanderings, he eventually arrived at Bias railway station. Near the station stood a large banyan tree, and beneath its shade was 4 yogis, like Baba Somnath Ji among them, together forming a gathering of 4. So total 4 yogis were there. They remained near that very sitting spot, estrade, we usually call it in French, right? French language, like a simple resting platform besides the railway station under the banyan tree, where travelers often pause. So there beneath the tree, they stayed for nearly 2 days. They were yogis clad in yellow garments, their hair tied in a matted locks like jata, the traditional jata we call it, adorned with rudraksh beads, like rudraksh beads, you know, right? Rudraksh. They lived the life of renunciates. Their attire was simple, often referred as a pitambari. It's called, for that yellow robe, it's called pitambari.
Okay.
Yeah. And they wore no other clothing than that pitambari, the yellow robes, or orange sometimes. Because of the severe cold in northern regions, they, like many yogis of that area, would consume ganja, marijuana, for warmth. So all 4 were accustomed to this practice, and over the time, Baba Somnath Ji had even developed a tumor in his stomach as a consequence of it.
Phew.
Yeah. So one day, a school teacher happened to pass by the banyan tree on his bicycle. Seeing 4 yogis sitting there, he became curious. Out of humility, he approached them respectfully and asked who they were and from where they had come. So they replied that they were from South India and were traveling from one ashram to another, seeking the darshan of Mahatmas, like great saints and sages, where they could find them, and were simply passing through Bias railway station. So unbeknownst, like they didn't know that the teacher was a disciple of Baba Sawan Singh Ji. The teacher then humbly entreated them, saying, "You have visited many saints, sages and Mahatmas on your journey. Just 3 kilometers from here stands the Dera Baba Jaimal Singh. You should go there and have a darshan of Maharaj Ji." That's what he said. So Baba Somnath Ji felt a deep inner pull towards a true master, a longing that had been growing within for years. So the other 3, however, did not share this yearning, the other 3 yogis. They were content with their riddhis and siddhis, like mystical powers, and their mystical attainments, and considered themselves master in their own right.
Oh.
So they did not incline to place themselves at the feet of another guru. But Baba Somnath Ji's heart was different. His soul was searching, unsatisfied by the powers or the yogic abilities. He felt no hesitation in seeking the one who could guide him and towards the ultimate truth. So while the other 3 chose not to go, Baba Somnath Ji set out alone in the evening, walking the 3 kilometers towards the Dera. So when Baba Somnath Ji arrived at Dera, a satsang was in progress. He simply stood there, listening quietly. As he absorbed the discourse, he felt as though the questions he had carried within him for years were being answered one by one. So he remained there for almost a week in the ashram in Dera, attending satsang daily, and gradually even every doubt was dissolved. So his heart recognized that this was the true master, the guide who could lead him to liberation. And he understood that this was the path he had been seeking for years. At that time, Baba Somnath Ji still wore his matted locks like jata, rudraksh beads, and carried a kamandal. Kamandal is a small metal vessel used by yogis for water. So, but once he resolved that he had found his master, he set the symbols of renunciation aside. In the small hut allotted to him, he left all his belongings and donned simple white clothes and devoted himself to seva, selfless service, in Dera. So for about a month, he performed seva with deep sincerity. The Bhandari, the head of the Dera's provisions and stores, noticed his purity of heart and his dedication. So being deeply pleased with Baba Somnathji's service, he approached Baba Sawan Singh Ji with a humble request. At that time, Baba Sawan Singh Ji granting initiation only once a month during the monthly satsangs. So as the next Namdan approached, the Bhandari prayed, Maharaj Ji, this Baba, like Baba Somnath Ji, this Baba is serving with such devotion, kindly bless him with initiation. So Baba Sawan Singh Ji looked towards Baba Somnath Ji, noticing his jata and yogic appearance. And he gently asked him, Baba,
Yes.
you will not leave us, will you? So Baba Somnath Ji bestowed and replied, Maharaj Ji, I have no other refuge except your holy feet. So there is nowhere else for me to go. Hearing this, Baba Sawan Singh Ji said, then write his name for initiation. Baba Somnath Ji remained in the ashram approximately for 7 years, and his soul reached Brahma due to his yogic static. So he already reached to that stage before he got initiated. So there were occasions when ashram faced a shortage of rotis, chapatis. Due to his mystical powers, Baba Somnath Ji would place a cloth over the basket of rotis and instruct others to distribute them. Miraculously, the rotis never ran out. It seemed as though the supply continued endlessly beneath the covering. So recognizing his dedication and capabilities, Baba Somnath Ji appointed him as Bhandari, the head of the kitchen. And in this role, Baba Somnath Ji managed the preparation of food for the Sangat, overseeing the seva with humility and devotion, ensuring that everyone was fed. After about 4 or 5 years of his stay, Baba Sawan Singh Ji asked Baba Somnath Ji to conduct satsang. However, some of the permanent sevadars opposed this, motivated by jealousy, since Baba Somnath Ji had been given a special responsibility of leading the satsang. This story is extensive, Babaji said. This story is extensive, but for the sake of brevity, we will not go into details here. That's what Baba Ram Singh Ji said. Then he continued, the permanent sevadars were growing increasingly resentful, thinking that this is not fair. We have served here longer, and yet the newcomer is imparting satsang. So their opposition and jealousy continued to rise day by day, questioning why grace was being showered to Baba Somnath Ji and not to them. Observing this, Baba Sawan Singh Ji called Baba Somnath Ji and advised him that the environment in Byas was not conducive to his spiritual work. He instructed him to return to South India and continued preaching Santmat. However, Maharaj Ji emphasized that Baba Somnath Ji should not rely on begging like usually yogis do.
Yeah.
Instead, he should work diligently, earn his livelihood honestly, and then devote himself to running the mission and conducting satsang. Following the instructions, Baba Somnath Ji returned to Bombay, where he spent nearly 10 to 12 years living as a yogi. Survival was challenging. Of the 25 rupees given by Baba Somnath Ji, Baba Sawan Singh Ji, 20 were used for transportation, leaving only 5 rupees.
Oof.
Roughly equivalent to 5,000 in today's terms. So for 3 rupees, he purchased a pot vessel, we call it handi, like a round pot, and about 3 to 4 kilos of roasted grams, chana, to sell. So he also brought some papers to wrap the roasted grams and then carried the pot tied around his neck, supported on his vest, and sailing along the shoreline of Worli Naka by the ocean. So after about a month and a half of this, a person observing his diligence and wisdom, noting that the Baba Somnath Ji was healthy and he was in his early 40s, like 40, 42 years old, suggested that he work in a textile mill, and Baba Somnath Ji agreed. So he trained for about 4 months, 3 to 3 months to operate the weaving machine. Weaving machine at that time was a precursor of the power loom, like modern power loom. Eventually began to run it independently with his dedication. After securing his job, Baba Somnath Ji also began a small business in the evening, selling fabric for both women and men. And he would tie fabric bundles on either side of the bicycles and travel through residential areas offering the fabric to customers. This was necessary to earn a livelihood, and his disciplined daily routine, working at the textile mill during the daytime, selling fabric in the evenings, and preparing his own meal at night. So over the time, he managed to save some funds and purchased an old shop in Worli Naka in Mumbai, Bombay, those days. So he eventually left his textile mill job to devote himself entirely to the business. Although he was not seeking great profits, his honesty, fair pricing, and quality goods made him popular among small businessmen, poor and lower middle class customers. So gradually he expanded by acquiring the adjacent shop and another nearby, merging the three into one large establishment. So while with the grace of Baba Saman Singh Ji upon him, the business flourished. He employed 2 to 3 assistants, brought fabric directly from the looms, sold it wholesale as well, serving both the small businessmen and general public, while keeping profits modest. So this successful enterprise continued for about 5 to 6 years. During this time, he began contemplating the establishment of ashram. So he came to Andhra, where a well-wisher of his caste, a Lingayat landlord, with 200 acres, generously donated about 100 acres to Baba Somnath Ji for the purpose of founding ashram. So Baba Somnath Ji examined the land and liked it. It was located just ahead of the Tirupalli in Shival, here in Andhra Pradesh. Mm-hmm. He asked the donor that, are you giving this in good faith? And I will accept only if your intention is sincere and I do not wish to hurt your heart. So the donor assured him that the gift was given wholeheartedly, and Baba Somnath Ji then registered the land in his name. At that time, the land was essentially a jungle, rocky, arid and uncultivated. So Baba Somnath Ji immediately began preparation, cleaning the area with bulldozer and arranging for water. So he dug a step well, where the water available just 10 feet below the surface. So which was sufficient since the rain was regular in that period, in those areas at that time. However, the donor's associates, friends and family began to influence him, and arguing that he had given away the worth of crores of rupees land freely. So with their consideration, which they considered unwise, it's not to just go and claim your land back. Mm-hmm. So after about 2 years, the donor reversed his decision, visited Baba Somnath Ji, saying he wanted the land back. So Baba Somnath Ji calmly replied, come back, come tomorrow, and I will return your land. So the next day, Baba Somnath Ji gifted a donor a simple gift of 1 pair of clothes and re-registered the land to the donor's name, saying that this is your land, please take it. So Baba Somnath Ji was shocked and deeply hurt, noted his disappointment, thinking that the people in Andhra were not trustworthy. So he then turned his attention to Karnataka. In Kangeri, a man named Janappa, a poor trader, used to sell coffee, assisted him in searching for suitable land. The land for ashram in Kangeri had previously been used by military, army, and used for horses and contained approximately 1,000 mango trees. One of the military officers owned the land, intended to deceive Baba Somnath Ji, as many others had been taken advances without transferring the land. So he used to cheat a lot of people, like just take the advance and he did not transfer the land. So he was planning the same with Baba Somnath Ji. So however, the officer's wife recognized Baba Somnath Ji's sanctity and counseled her husband, saying, "This is a saint. To cheat him will bring misfortune." So heeding her advice, the officer completed the registration and transferred 111-acre lands to Baba Somnath Ji. Again, the land was essentially mountainous and required extensive work. So Baba Somnath Ji brought in laborers, spent 2 to 3 years flattening and preparing the land. Remarkably, all of this was made possible through the earnings of humble fabric business, demonstrating how grace and efforts together can manifest divine work. So Baba Somnath Ji established ashram in 10 to 12 ashrams in certain places like Devangiri, Thaneshwar, Hubli in Karnataka. So he was very strict and principled. So in the middle of this story, like one of the audience, I think, asked a question to Babaji, whether Baba Somnath Ji had claimed any compensation for the expenses he had incurred on the earlier 100 acres land in Andhra Pradesh before returning it.
Mm-hmm.
So Babaji just said no. He just left the land as is, like it was written. He did not claim anything.
Mm.
So back to the story, returning to our story, Babaji was reminded about Baba Mahadev Swami, right? Then before just the third segment. So we asked,
Yes.
okay, Babaji, what happened to
Okay,
Mahadev
back
Swami?
to the story, yes.
So back to the story of Mahadev. So Babaji laughed and said, "Oh yes, we had completely forgotten the story while discussing about Baba Somnath Ji."
Mm-hmm.
But this marked the beginning of the third segment. The reason for recounting Baba Somnath Ji's story first was providing a necessary foundation and context. And without it, the story of Mahadev Swami would be incomplete. So here our second segment is over. So the third segment is like Mahadev Swami's interaction with Baba Sawan Singh Ji and return to Baba Somnath Ji. So that's together. That is the last segment.
Yes.
So now Mahadev Swami returned to South India at that time when Baba Somnath Ji started for North. So at that time Mahadev Swami, so we are going back in time now. So Mahadev Swami returned to South India where he met a person of his Lingayat caste, because Mahadevappa was also from Lingayat caste. So
Which
in
kind of caste?
Kanaganapalli.
Which kind of caste is it?
It's Lingayat, maybe I think the agriculture caste, maybe farmers.
Farmers.
I'm not sure, but I'll double check it with the locals here.
Okay.
So that caste in Kanaganapalli in Andhra Pradesh. So Kanaganapalli, if you remember, the other day we went to that ashram.
Yes.
Yeah, that the ashram, yeah. So who was an influential and generous guy? He arranged for Mahadev Swamis to meditate on a large mountain near Kanaganapalli. We know that the Pahad ashram, just by that, adjacent to it, like there is a big mountain. So he just made this arrangement over there. So there Mahadev Swami lived in a cave and meditated for about a year. The cave was remote and the mountain was steep, making it difficult for villagers to climb for food and darshan.
Mm-hmm.
So concerned about their well-beings, the villagers suggest he meditate on a smaller nearby mountain for convenience. So Mahadev Swami just replied, insisted that I only require a cave for meditation. I need nothing else. They found a beautiful cave for him on the adjacent mountain, the smaller hill just down there, unaware that it was already inhabited by a pair of cheetahs. So Mahadev Swami settled in the cave and began his meditation. When the Cheetah's couple returned in the evening, they found a human occupying their cave.
Oh.
So they waited outside, expecting him to leave in a few days. But Mahadev Swami remained steadfast in the meditation. And after 3 or 4 days, the cheetahs abandoned the place. And Mahadev Swami continued his spiritual practice there uninterrupted. So there was a Sevadar named Mallu Subrappa, so who regularly carried milk for Mahadev Swami. Climbing the mountain was difficult because he was healthy, he was very healthy. So yes, always faithfully he was bringing, brought the milk to him over the mountain. So when the cheetah couple saw him approaching, so they would always make a way for him. He could get darshan and return safely. Subrappa. So Subrappa later became Kandakai Swami. So Mahadev Swami actually expressed his satisfaction with his devoted service, telling him that he did not to eat food anymore, so just leave eating food. So he did not consume meal for 40 years and surviving on just a handful of roasted peanuts and a cup of coffee each day. So despite this minimal intake, he remained physically strong, demonstrating that human body does not require the large quantities of food we typically consume to sustain life. So however, Babaji reminded that the less food for the seekers of spiritual practice, not necessarily for the laborers, because they require, of course, food. But returning to the main story, now going back to the main story, Mahadev Swami had 20 disciples under his guidance at that time. So he decided to take all of them to Bombay, knowing through deep meditation, Antaryami, so like omniscient, we would say. So that he knew in deep meditation that Baba Somnathji was residing there in Bombay. So it had been approximately 14 to 15 years since Mahadev Swami had last met Baba Somnathji, when Baba Somnathji left for northern India tour. 14 to 15 years.
14, 15.
14 to 15 years, yeah, 15. So the disciple, like Baba Mahadev Swami disciples insisted on accompanying him to Bombay, saying that where would we go without our master? How could we find such a great soul anywhere else? So they arranged 2 bullock carts to reach to Mudgal, and then they boarded train to Bombay. Upon arrival, Mahadev Swami searched for Baba Somnathji, but found that like few knew about his whereabouts. Excuse me. So nobody knew, and Babaji only knew that okay, Baba Somnathji is in Bombay, but where in Bombay he didn't know. So he was just asking around. So eventually a Muslim man who used to visit Worli Naka, he informed that, yeah, I saw one Baba you could found there. But he warned that it's not the same Baba, no longer. He is not a yogi, a wandering yogi. He now owned a fabric shop and appeared to be a wealthy businessman. So trusting his intuition, Mahadev Swami asked him to arrange for 2 horse carts and take him and all the 20 disciples to his shop. Upon arrival, Mahadev Swami saw Baba Somnathji sitting comfortably in a chair, looking every bit the prosperous businessman. So he was momentarily confused, wondering how a yogi had become wealthy. So Baba Somnathji smiled, because Baba Somnathji was noticing it, like they were just sitting there, a group of people were sitting there, like just standing over there. So he smiled and replied, he smiled and invited them in the shop. So upon asking who these people are with you, so introducing his disciple, Mahadev Swami replied, they are your grandchildren. So Baba Somnathji puzzled and said, I have never married, and how could I have grandchildren? So Mahadev Swami replied gently, no master, I initiated them spiritually, so they have come after me. So ultimately they are your grandchildren. So in that manner, he
Yes.
introduced them as their grandchildren. So in total, like about 25 disciples were eager to receive initiation from Vyas. So Baba Somnath Ji personally accompanied them to Vyas to receive Namdan from Baba Sawan Singh Ji. So when in Dera Vyas, when Baba Sawan Singh Ji was offering initiation to all the seekers, everyone agreed willingly. However, when he asked Mahadev Swami, he initially refused to receive Namdan from Baba Sawan Singh Ji, and he explained like, oh, I already have a Nam from my Guru, Baba Somnath Ji, and I do not wish to take another. So he just straight away refused Baba Somnath Ji's offer. Baba Somnath Ji tried to persuade him, but Mahadev Swami remained firm in his decision, and seeing this, Baba Sawan Singh Ji expressed his displeasure. Sorry, Baba Somnath Ji showed his anger. Like he was displeased with this decision. So angrily he said, "You are my disciple. If you do not follow my instruction, you risk spiritual harm. In short, you will go to hell." Like straight away he said, "And you may not attain liberation. So you must take initiation from the true and perfect master, Baba Sawan Singh Ji." Fearful of incurring the displeasure of Guru, which is considered spiritually dangerous, Mahadev Swami finally consented to receive Namdan from Baba Sawan Singh Ji. Yet he did not develop faith in Baba Sawan Singh Ji, remained devoted to Baba Somnath Ji. So after returning to Bombay, Baba Somnath Ji spent about 15 days with Mahadev Swami. So Mahadev Swami actually stayed with Baba Somnath Ji, giving him clear instructions. He strictly told him not to impart the 5 holy names received from Baba Somnath Ji to anyone. If he wished to give initiation, it should only the 5 pranayam names in the yogic practice that Baba Somnath Ji has originally given to him before he was initiated by Baba Sawan Singh Ji, and to no others. So Mahadev Swami obeyed, chanting the 5 holy names silently, but refrained from teaching them to others, as his trust remained solely in Baba Somnath Ji only, not on Baba Sawan Singh Ji. Because of the earlier pranayam practice, initiation from Baba Somnath Ji, Mahadev Swami has already attained certain riddhis and siddhis like mystic powers. So Baba Somnath Ji clarified this matter for him, ensuring his spiritual understanding before he returned to South India to continue his journey on the path of meditation and Santmat. About 6 months later, a lady visited Mahadev Swami. Her son was working under Baba Somnath Ji in his shop in Bombay. So she requested initiation, and Mahadev Swami, contrary to the instructions of Baba Somnath Ji, imparted the 5 holy names he received from Baba Sawan Singh Ji. The very names he was strictly forbidden to give. So he just initiated. A year later, she traveled to Bombay to see her son, a lady who was initiated by Mahadev Swami. And Baba Somnath Ji asked her if she had received Namdan. So when she confirmed that Mahadev Swami had given it and specified the 5 holy names, Baba Somnath Ji became very angry. And he explicitly instructed Mahadev Swami not to impart them. In his displeasure, he pronounced a spiritual curse, declaring that Mahadev Swami would not survive and that he would also lose his beard. So shortly thereafter, Mahadev Swami fell gravely ill, suffering severe vomiting and cough. His beard became soiled with vomiting and phlegm, that the disciple could not manage it anymore. So the villagers, distressed by the unhygienic condition, shaved his beard and all the hair, leaving him completely bald. So this curse, this caused Mahadev Swami immense grief, deeply hurt, and in the great mental anguish, he ultimately left his physical body. So the root cause was clear, like He had not developed faith in Baba Sawan Singh Ji, and without faith in Guru, liberation is not possible. So that was the end of the story.
Thank you.
Thank you.